Huge congrats to them for making us
Yeah, definitely.
believe, even after they lost the first match and were pretty close to already getting knocked out of the group, they find themselves in the finals. So it all goes down to just this one best of one.
Exactly. GG for FTW, and I was hoping for that story. I was hoping for them to also make it into those grand finals of this group D. And now the big question is, are they gonna be able to take on Bulldog eSports as well? So how much of a spiritual experience has it been to crush iDomina and TES Gaming, both Italian teams, out of the tournament? Will they be able to take on Bulldog eSports? What do you think, Nero?
Well, first of all, TS seemed pretty impressive walking into this group. Watching their first match, it looked real nice. In the match against Bulldog Esports, they showed a lot of promise. But at the end of the day, it's what we expected to see, though we did not expect these Italian teams to be so strong, but we thought that they're going to be the fourth and third place in this group, just like the others ended up right at the bottom. So it's really sad. It's really sad that it ends like this, but I'll still remember at heart that DES did put up a good fight in here. Anyway, though, FTW against Bulldog Esports is going to be one hell of a match. It's the third match in a row, though, for the Portuguese team, so finally, maybe they're gonna be a tiny bit tired. But them using the same team comp twice in a row not only shows that it's gonna be hard to read, that it's not so easy to beat it just because it is the same team comp, but also they probably have something else up their sleeve. And Counter, who seemed to be such a strong AD carry when they played against Bulldog Esports, decided to play a Varus, which did not work at all for him. He missed a lot of the chain of corruptions in the first stages of the game, and that Kog'Maw once again crushed. So nobody really focuses on shutting down the Kog'Maw, who is just such an easy target. That makes me wonder why. And I think that Bulldog Esports might come up with an idea of how to do that, but then FTW are not forced to play that Kog'Maw at all. They can just decide to do anything else.
Yeah, but what do you expect? I think there's a high possibility of them to really go for that combination for a third time, because it has been rolling over their opponents for now. But is it more likely in your eyes that they're gonna change their composition, or that they're gonna stick to it? What do you expect?
Yeah, I would say it's more likely to just change it a little bit, but we've had some crazy teams this far right here. We had some Syndra in the bottom lane, we had two times Lucian in the middle lane, which worked definitely, and it's possible to make it work, but in my opinion wasn't the optimal thing to go for. We had iDomina, who went for a completely insane team comp, so why not? FTW can just pick the same team comp for the third time again if Bulldog Esports actually allow them to do that, because I do not only think that FTW will change something themselves, but also I think that Bulldog might ban out at least one of these champions out there. I mean, Clap was amazing at shutting down Kollega in the jungle, but it still did not change much. Kollega still proved to be a pretty strong jungler out there, and he showed up on these lanes, had successful ganks, so possibly an Ivern ban in here. I don't know. And then after all, the Kog'Maw seems to be definitely extremely dangerous. And it's possible to shut down the Orianna in the middle lane, so they should not care about that too much. In the top lane, limiting the Renekton is not so bad. And it once again goes down to the fact that he was just let loose completely. People stopped caring about him at some point in the game, and he farmed himself up, fed himself up, and became a beast again. But it doesn't also change the fact that he was playing against a Gragas two times in a row. So there's a possibility he'll have a different enemy this time. Just a lot can change. But I think that Bulldog Esports can take care of most of that if they actually come up with some ideas, if they actually carefully think about this game.
Yeah, definitely. They've shown to be a very strong side, and they have to be considered as the match winner in this one, definitely. I'm pretty much interested in how it will play out in terms of the bats here. So far, we have just seen 184 berries being put into the place. Yesterday in the finals, I already mentioned it, we had 3.8k. So it's gonna be very, very interesting to see how this will play out, or if the people will just stick to their betties in order to buy some tickets to participate in our giveaway today, as we are giving out a Garen LOL figurine today. So that is also still on the line, but I'd like to see the people just getting their betties out and spend it on their favorite team here, in order also to have yeah, a prognosis of who's probably gonna win that. And for those
Well,
teams, it's about everything. It's about reaching the offline finals.
yeah, surely it is a lot, and definitely I think FTW would profit the most from that. For the Portuguese team, it's going to be extremely important to qualify for the LAN finals. For Bulldog eSports, I don't think it's going to be such a shame, such a loss, but of course nobody wants to lose. They are taking part in this tournament in order to give their best to grab the first place spot. But overall, just talking about the development of both the scenes, like the Portugal versus the UK, where Bulldog is competing in. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a much bigger of a blow for the win if they don't manage to make it than for Bulldog Esports. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be any easier. That Bulldog is going to go easy on them or something like that. So yeah, I can see a lot of people from the organizations actually even typing in the chat. There's someone from FTW. There's someone from Bulldog. Also saw in the chat that people are talking about how they can get involved with the picks and bans. Of course, the coaches. So everybody has some form of analysis on his side, and hopefully that analysis is going to be enough to bring forth some interesting team comps and some interesting gameplay for us. And most importantly, that the teams will know how to focus on the macro gameplay.
Yeah, definitely. In talking about all those strategies, yeah, Gragas, how did you like those picks today? We've been seeing a lot of it, and it's just. Or another question. I want to ask you something else, because how can it be that we've seen four different groups this week with four different meta games, as it seems? Can you explain this to me?
Not necessarily meta games, because you can still see for the most part similar champions being switched out there here and there for between the matches. That the differences are not so huge. There's the Galio that's always going to show up in the top lane. We've got Renekton every now and then. But indeed, the Gragas has just shown up, picked by Digital Paradox once in the jungle, and it's been kind of like silent. It's been dead for a bit, and now it actually is a big interest in Group D. I feel like these are just the singular champions, and maybe it's just about the realization, like one team picking it and the other coming up with the idea like, hey, it was actually a good idea to pick up the Gragas, but we can maybe execute it a little bit better, we can tweak it, and then it's going to work out fine. But this far, in this group, like most Dragases, were completely impactless. They were devoured by the Renekton, and then they also didn't have any good ultimates. Because with that Rumble, I always like that example, because with the Rumble, you can lose your lane. Most of the time, you're going to do fine, but you cannot even lose your lane. You can get ganked over and over and over again. But even without the money, you're going to have the equalizer. And a lot of players are able to use the equalizer in such a way to still win the team fights. While here, as the Gragas, you should not be crying over spilled milk that you lost the lane. You still should focus on throwing out some good explosive casts and possibly getting the enemy AD carry isolated or something like that. But that just wasn't happening, so I'm surprised. Also, there was Fiora. That was the main interest in Group A, but that's because of Fiora. That was Fiora main right there, so and that's why we don't tend to see so much of her nowadays. And then there was Graves in Group A. That was just such a huge focus right there. But I don't feel like Graves is much more important of a jungler than all the others that we're seeing right here. So that's a little bit of that mysterious fragment of this group stage for me as to why he was so important in Group A and not in the others at all, because nobody really seems to care.
Yeah, definitely. And taking another look at the bets right now, we have Bulldog eSports up pretty far ahead. So that's actually a surprise because I thought the fans of FTW, they'd give it their best and just keep it going with the bets. But for now, Bulldog eSports, they seem to be the clear favorite, at least for the viewers at home. And I might use that time that we got left before that game as well to thank you once more for tuning in, for watching. If you enjoyed that Legend series brought to you by ELC Gaming, just let us know. If you have anything that could be better, let us know as well. Feel free to use any channels. Twitch chat is enough. Facebook, Twitter, and also a big shout out to Nero Integrate, who in my opinion is also doing a great job all this week along as our League of Legends commentator and expert here. So also thank you from my side, Nero, for doing what you do.
Thanks a lot, Marvin, and huge shout out to you for staying in here with me, actually keeping up with me, and the times when I'm a little bit too talkative, and due to just a little bit of technical issues, also that you did not just give up on this tournament right here.
Yeah, thanks. But that's it for our love story. We can't go on blabbering about that. And we see the bets rising, actually. So the fans of FTW, they feel the pressure now. And you definitely have to support your team right here because there's not much time left. And talking about that momentum that was building up right now, I feel like they really do have a good shot here. Once more, maybe talking about the focus today, because I feel like the teams today are setting a way bigger focus on the structures and objectives in the game and not so much on the kills. We haven't seen so many chases. In the last game, it was that Renekton always split pushing and always doing a job apart from taking part in the team fights. I feel like this is going to be a very important part also here in the finals. As in the other group finals, it has not been that much of a focus. They still went for those team fights, and that was the deciding point. Or would you disagree in that, Nero?
Yeah, I kind of would agree. Overall, though, the most important part is that the finals have always been pretty similar to the winners' matches. And right here, we might get to see a completely different game, a completely different play style. And yeah, I felt like TES got close, but it was all about counterplaying the Sivir. And I thought that Bulldog can just eliminate that problem and do very well. But against FTW, they have to come up with something completely new because they have to take care about an entire team comp. It's five different champions, and then there's additionally the risk that FTW will have something more even prepared. So Bulldog, right now, there's a big chance they'll fire a shot into the dark, and FTW will just be laughing at them on TeamSpeak because they will get some comfort picks for themselves for free. So really wondering what it's going to look like. Really wondering what's the focus of Bulldog, and really thinking if they're not just going to go for the standard because it's going to be a little bit safer. I don't know. But yeah, the Fiora ban, not sure if it's so worth it. Just worry about that Renekton of FTWs. And then Lulu, I think it should definitely stay there. Lee Sin, not too sure. Because it always goes down to just the skill of particular players. This far, it seems like FTW's jungler fancies Ivern a lot, and he fell a little bit behind. And with Ivern, you're always able to build up that disadvantage again. While on Lee Sin, falling behind might be pretty lethal. So not too sure if that Lee Sin ban is worth it. Not too sure if that Fiora ban is worth it. Just from the standards in this group D that we're seeing each and every single game, I would stay with Lulu.
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree to that. And so far, it seemed to work for the teams here that really went for that ban. Also, maybe taking a closer look at the bot lane. What are we to expect from the teams there? Because we have seen that absolutely stunning Kog'Maw being played by for the win here. What was it that Bulldog eSports used? It's quite a while ago. Did they play the Caitlyn? Or am I mistaken in that? Can you maybe remember what they were?
Yeah. That was a Caitlyn in their one game that they played against TES Gaming. I was wondering in the back of my head what was picked in the other, but yeah, that was the forfeit from Indomina, so that game never happened. So yeah, that was the Caitlyn, and after one team, I don't think that Caitlyn was really visible for the most part of the game. But after the great team fight where Sivir actually racked up the triple kill, the Caitlyn started getting some doubles for herself. So at the moment, counter started shining the most. Bulldog eSports AD carry also started doing a little bit more every now and then. So yeah, that was facts. And if Fax is going to be an important member of the team here for Bulldog Esports in the match against FTW, I don't know. But as a default, the AD carry is going to matter a little bit because he's going to be the main person that has to shut down the AD carry of FTW. Simply because that Kog'Maw just litmus going rampaging is something that shouldn't happen. If it happens, if Bulldog allow that to happen, they're done for. Once again, the same goes for the top lane. If they allow the enemy team to pick Renekton for Jonah, and if he just starts getting that CS advantage and nobody's doing anything about it, it's going to be a lost game. So a lot of stuff to focus on, but I feel like it only sounds like that on paper. But since it's going to be the highest level of a game this far that we had seen in the Group D, it's going to be a standard for Bulldog. Just take care of every single lane, have good warding, come up with some ideas for yourself, and don't get countered. Simple as that.
Yeah, and I feel this is gonna be as close as our final game yesterday, as two teams as leveled as these two were matched up, and I'm just hoping for that great fight, and I just can't wait to see those two teams really battling it out. I'm actually tired of just talking about it because we've been waiting for that the whole week, and after this game we will finally have all the four teams ready that will visit us in Hamburg for the LAN finals. And there we finally go, jumping into the picks and bans. It's Bulldog Esports going up against FTW Esports. And let's see, we see the Iron ban coming in, and I already love it. Nero, please tell us something about that.
Yeah, so as you say, we're pretty excited to find out the fourth and last team to take part in the LAN finals and then the Ivern ban, picks and bans overall. Really excited to see the game. Bulldog are not going to put their hands on the Caitlyn, so that gets taken away from Fax, but most importantly, the Ivern ban. FTW will be forced to play something different. And it's hard for me to come up with a champion similar to Ivern who is not going to feel the pressure when he gets counter jungled. It's not going to be so easy with anything else. Your jungle route is always going to be very much slowed down if you get poked around in the jungle, while Ivern still safely takes all these camps, of course not losing so much HP and stuff. So there we go. Other than that, it's a cannon ban from Bulldog, interestingly enough. Still not focusing on the Renekton at all. And hopefully they're going to have some answer to that and a Fiora ban. So everybody leaves that Renekton. Everybody goes for the Fiora ban. Not sure why. FTW have a chance to leave Lulu open, but I'm not sure if they want to give it up to Bulldog. But then imagine FTW putting their hands on a Kog'Maw and a Lulu combo. That would be a killer combo, and I don't think that Bulldog want to let that happen. So they will be forced to first pick Lulu if it isn't banned.
Yeah, this last ban, a lot comes down to it, and it's actually gonna be an Ashe ban from what it looks like right here. And as you said, if FTW, if they can make it work, Renekton top lane on the bot lane, then with Kog'Maw and Lulu, I definitely love to see that. And Bulldog Esports, they have left that Lulu open, and I'm not so sure about the first pick, if that is really going to be a Lulu, because also they might focus on the jungler. Maybe they are going for that Lee Sin pick first, or have planned out something very different here. But you prove me wrong. It is going to be that Lulu pick for Bulldog.
No,
And
but I
yeah,
very much
they
understand that there is a possibility that they could have gone for the jungler to just make Kollega just as uncomfortable as possible. There's a possibility that they might have wanted to take away that Renekton because he's also dangerous. And then you see how many bans are aimed at the bottom lane of Bulldog Esports, so they might have as well wanted to find some comfortable AD carry for themselves. So they're pretty much put up against a wall right here. And FTW. We're going to go for the Nunu first, and what is going to be the second pick? I'm not sure if they should worry about the Kog'Maw. Bulldog will probably not want to play that, but Bulldog do get a good opportunity of going for a Varus right here with a Lulu. Okay, so
yeah,
Kog'Maw
but
is picked in.
that's exactly what they do. Even though they don't really have to worry about that Kog'Maw, they still go for it as a second pick, and also Nunu being picked. Just remember, this is a champion that can go into the jungle, bot lane, or yeah, maybe even elsewhere if FTW, if they are having their creative day. But for now, this is still looking pretty much standard and understandable for us. Lulu and the other end. And look at that, Bulldog. They are just picking the champions that seem to fit perfectly in here for FTW. So going for that Renekton on the top lane, that also explains why they left it open in the ban phase.
Yeah, but okay, never mind. No bots in here at the moment for me. Everything's just fine for Bulldog this far. I'm just willing to see how FTW will fill out these gaps. Probably a Nami alongside with the Kog'Maw, just the standard as they did go for in the previous games. It's not going to be a problem. And now the top laner is an issue. Fiora got banned, Kennen got banned, Khaled got banned. Maybe they're gonna go for the Rumble. Maybe they're gonna go for the Gragas themselves. Hell, who knows? But that Gragas this far has just not been good enough against the Renekton. But then you can go for the regular standard Galio that everybody picks this far in this league, and no one's really able to do anything good with him.
Yeah, still going for it. Unfortunately, we have only seen a few players really mixing it up a little bit with the top lane so far. But if that Renekton is taken for FTW, still going for that safe choice, choosing that Galio here might be their way to go. But so far, I just feel like Bulldog, they're targeting FTW a bit too hard. Because that might not work out well for FTW. I don't feel comfy putting myself in their shoes with what they've picked so far.
So we just have to sit through the 1 minute of the filler bans in here again. And then we'll see probably FTW picking up a Nami additionally to that Kog'Maw. Although on the other hand, I feel like they might want never mind, it's not going to matter. If they go ahead and pick a mid laner, that's already secured in for Bulldog Esports, so not like they're going to steal a champion away. And they've already stolen a champion away since that's the Orianna that Shaki would like to play. Now there's the question. Since he was dominated so much in the middle lane last time, and only managed to get himself back into the game because he got the shutdown on Syndra somehow, luckily enough. Would you want to play that Orianna again? Would you like to risk it? But Bulldog, overall, it's a very interesting team comp that they're going here for. It's not like they're actually deciding to go for a team comp. It's more like they want to take away the picks from FTW. So yeah, don't ban Lulu. They will want the Lulu with a Kog'Maw. We have to take it away. Renekton is available. They picked Kog'Maw for the first rotation. We take the Renekton. Shaki plays Orianna all the time. We take the Orianna. Now, whichever champion now from the left lanes FTW are going to go for, it's not going to matter anymore because Bulldog cannot steal anything at this stage anymore. But I feel like they will want to go for the AD carry right now just to keep the jungle a mystery as long as possible.
And there's the Nami pick that you already mentioned, so this is really coming in for FTW Esports. On the other hand, what kind of AD carry is it going to be? That's actually a pretty big question here. We haven't seen Xayah all day long, but it's going to be a Varus once more
Yeah.
teaming up with that Lulu here.
So as I mentioned, with a Lulu locked in for Bulldog, there was a perfect opportunity to just go for a Varus. Just don't play the counters, Varus. Just hit your chains of corruption. Don't get destroyed in the lane. Everything's gonna be fine. And Graves, finally, once again, the Graves shows up. Oh, and we've got a possibility of what? A Gnar in the middle lane? Or a Kog'Maw possibly in the middle lane? Or a Galio even. Wow, there's a lot of stuff that FTW can do with that. But I feel like it's going to be a Gnar in the top lane, Galio in the middle, and Kog'Maw standard bottom lane with Nami, Nunu jungle.
Yeah, definitely an interesting composition that they've put together here, being targeted so heavily by Bulldog eSports. I still feel like Bulldog, they have, just from the field composition, on the other hand, FTW, they that they could get to work. Tidal Wave coming in, remember that knock-up from Galio's ultimate, and also Nunu with his slows. So there's still a possibility that they might just take them out with that nice Kog'Maw that we've already seen twice today. On the other hand, Graves so far, in all the groups where we have seen a Graves in the jungle, he has been doing a dominant play. He really did a great job, and I'm quite, anxious if that's going to work out for FTW here. But at least everybody raise your dongers one last time, because this is the last game of the group stage overall. This is going to be the deciding moment. Which one is going to be the fourth team to join our teams in the LAN final? Is it going to be Bulldog or is it going to be FTW?
Oh man, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say, but FTW seem fired up walking into this game. They have some interesting ideas. And they are indeed putting that Galio in that's going to be a middle lane Galio. I don't imagine a middle lane Gnar right here. So Jet is going to put a little bit of vision in FTW's starting places already. So that Nunu is probably going to get spotted out. But we'd already seen a situation like this. The last time Nunu was picked, it was by iDomina, but they also read pretty well. So yeah, he's not going to stay in the upper jungle. As the ward is placed on his red buff, he's just going to transfer over to the blue. So, of course, it's just trying not to give the information over to the enemy team. Litmus trying to spot somebody out possibly and punish for going down from this jungle on the wrong way, but I don't think it is happening. Last time Jet, if I'm not mistaken, was playing a Lee Sin, and sometimes a little bit questionable, sometimes he was a little bit over aggressive, but on that Graves, we'll see, it might be a completely different story. Well then, in the beginning, pretty slow, but Kog'Maw, at least for now, Litmus is not getting a huge advantage in the bottom lane. Fax is indeed actually having some good time right there. Was able to poke him around, has a little bit more HP. And a very important thing right here is definitely CS. Raisins going real aggressive. Previously on Thresh, you could definitely do that, but on Lulu, he's not so tanky. Ignite, and the enemy is forced to back away a tiny bit, but that's what I said the last time. I feel like he could have done a lot better on that Thresh. He could have gone for the aggression. This time, goes for the early level 2 instance engage, but it was very risky. Well, now Jet's taking care of his upper jungle. He's going to be missing a little bit of mana, but there's a little possibility of him still ganking that top lane. Of course, he's got the blue buff on him. Shaki, a little bit of struggling with Galio in the mid, and of course, I think everybody expected that. He's a melee champion out there facing off against an Orianna who's got amazing range with that ball, with the command attack.
And Jet now making his way into the opponent's jungle. Maybe looking for an opportunity to gank that Gnar on the top lane, but he's pretty much safe under his tower. So Jet deciding to just go back home. Nunu, on the other hand, he's making his engage to the bot lane, and this is pretty much damage on Jackson. Nunu coming in there, and he's pretty much gonna secure that kill. That can't be anything else, but Jax, for now, he gets away! How can Jax get away like that? Sorry, I was saying Jax. He's turning around.
Oh man, now Raisins is also going to be slowed, and they just saved their AD carry in order to once again jump into the enemies and possibly sacrifice their lives. Fox is going to be the first blood in favor of FTW. Plasma Lemon, pretty low on mana. Litmus all the same. That fight could not have lasted much longer, but right at the end of it, Fox is going to die. So yeah, the teleport's going down. That must have forced out a little bit of action, but I'm not a fan of this decision. They should not have continued the fight when their AD carry was pretty much half dead. Moon is forced to burn his flash once again. Kollega landing the snowball, but he's gonna get picked up by the auto attack. And Moon completely outplays the mechanic on Shaki. And I was mentioning that on the first day already. It's not so hard to avoid that Galio. It's like a double Diana's Q. If you just figure out how it works geometrically, so to speak, it is gonna be perfectly fine. So an amazing kill out there, though I still admire Kollega's approach right here, ganking a ton. Once again, he helped out in the bottom lane. He continued the fight. Later on was once again tossing in these snowballs. Then showed up in the middle. He's just completely relentless. And it paid out on that time he was playing the Ivern. So now 1-1. Pretty early first blood, we could say, comparing these kills to the earlier games that we saw today. Some teams were struggling to even find the first blood until the 15th minute mark. This far we've got 5-minute early action. And I'm wondering about that Nunu, because this far when iDomino were playing the Nunu, it went pretty bad for them. The ultimate Absolute Zero was completely useless. That Nunu was completely neglectable. They could just completely skip in the team fight and continue on to more prioritized targets.
So far the game came back to a stage where it goes down a bit, but Rave's making his way into the middle. Whereas Moon is trying to get something out of that, wandering down to the bot lane and engaging immediately. Litmus and Plasma Lemon under the tower. But he
not having a good enough idea right here. And not going for a shockwave right off the bat. The minion wave got completely demolished in no time by that Kog'Maw. So I feel like this idea was incomplete from Moon. Not having summoner spells. There are no flashes for his bottom lane, and you always have to count in sacrifices like these into such.
Yeah, he was just walking in like that. Really seemed to have no real plan behind that, just walking in casually, and so it didn't really work out.
Okay then. It's the 8th minute already kicking in. The first Drake is Infernal, so it should be some point of interest for the teams. And indeed, Jet takes away the enemy's blue buff. They are in the area of that dragon. They might be trying it After a successful gank or something like that, Shaki will take care of the blue buff on the other side of the map. He picks it up. Nunu also does not have his red buff yet, but he'll be falling back into a jungle that's a little bit controlled by the enemy team because of the vision that's out there. You can see two blue wards, but Jet is too far away in order to be able to actually fight for it. But I still think the dragon should be a little bit of a focus. But they first of all need to find a possibility to take somebody out on the bottom lane, or at least to do that dragon completely unnoticed. But if the bottom lane of Bulldogs disappears, I don't think that FTW will not be able to read that.
And so far, both teams being very cautious in what they do. Moon and Shaki don't even try to touch another. And we see a little pause screen. So once again, maybe some connection problems here. But it didn't look to be Shaki this time.
So yeah, luckily enough, it isn't Shaki. And luckily enough, nobody died this time during the disconnect or something. So everything's quite okay. Taking a look at the builds. For now, Nar is a little bit ahead, but just because he recalled a second ago. Fox does have his teleport available, but after the failed situation in the bottom lane, I don't know if he'll be willing to use it in order to support his team in the nearest moments. Maybe it's just gonna be him teleporting straight back to the top lane to just keep his farm going. After all, he was always able, not him actually, but that Renekton this far was always able to outfarm his opponent. They're now facing off against a Gnar, who's not a melee champion, so he's got a tiny advantage in this form. We'll see, we'll see. But of course, that Renekton will definitely be going for the Titanic Hydra and the Black Cleaver. When he gets these items, he's going to be strong.
Yeah, and it's Jet that seems to have some connection problems. And talking about farm, I wanted to get to talk about Jet because he's the one that's just leading 10 creeps here above Nunu. The only one that's really ahead here. The rest is pretty much leveled out so far. Also, in terms of gold, there's really nothing to split those two teams. It's 100 gold difference 9 minutes into the game already. So this is as close as you'd imagine it would be. But so far, I feel like both teams are holding back. They're not taking those risks. We have seen Moon with that maybe a bit imagineless gank on the bot lane, but so far not too many risks that are taken here. So both teams really taking their time and finding their rhythm into the game.
Yeah, and talking about Jet, actually, he's deep in the enemy's jungle. I was talking about how Nunu does not have the red buff yet, and there were wards from Bulldog eSports, so he's extremely active. Like, as you say, he's already ahead in creeps. He's right now in the enemy's jungle stealing the wolves away. He had the vision over the red buff of Nunu so that he knows exactly where that Nunu's going to be. And Kollega died in the middle lane. So yeah, he was a little bit more active. He was ganking a little bit more, but that also shows us the fact that he's not going to be able to farm so much. And who knows, maybe that Graves is going to use the farm the right way, but maybe he's just going to serve us another Don Art from the first match of Group C, where he's going to get a lot of gold for himself, but he's going to stay useless until the end of the game.
Well, let's not hope so. Let's see that both of these teams, that they give it their best at this very last game of the group stage. A lot is on the line. 3,000 euro in cash prize pool divided through the participants in our offline final, and also all travel expenses are taken care of with a nice travel package from ELC Gaming. So this is a very important moment for both teams, and we will be back in 3, 2, 1, and let's get back to the action. So Jet immediately decides to recall here. Nunu just passing by.
Yeah. That's quite interesting, because it could have been a little bit dangerous. Could have been a little bit of time wasted, of course.
Yeah, but maybe some kind of fair play. Maybe they were chatting about it. Maybe Jet said, okay, I have a disconnect. I will port back. Please don't touch me. And if that's the case, then GG and well played to FTW, because fair play is always what you should go for. Fax and Raisins here on the bot lane still doing a good job so far, holding up against that nice command. Actually landing a pretty nice hit here on that Litmus, but Plasma Lemon with his tidal wave, he's the one that keeps Litmus alive in this case.
And yeah, having the Nami alongside the Kog'Maw really seems so handy. But I still feel like picking up a Lulu towards that team comp would be even stronger. So FTW will probably be aiming at it in some of the future games if they indeed qualify for the LAN playoffs. And maybe when they do, some people will forget what they what kind of team comps they went for and make that mistake of giving them the Lulu. Well, the Galio ult towards the bottom lane. Shaki, though, does not hit it too well, but Jet gets slowed down. The Absolute Zero does not take any HP away from him. It just slows him down, and nobody was able to catch up. But Galio hits quite nice. Jet loses nearly half of his HP to just one single skill shot. Well then, still the Drake is available.
Nobody seems to really care about that Drake for now. Nobody is confident enough to take it on. And still just 100 gold splitting these two teams. And also Moon taking some damage here from Gaio, retreating under his tower. Can't walk around that much.
Well then, that Drake should be a little bit of a focus since a lot of fights are happening in the bottom lane. The first team fight of this game, now just a while ago, Shaki roaming down, jumping in with the ultimates. You can clearly see the tension in there. The bottom red turret is almost taken out. Right now FTW are trying to deal a little bit of damage towards Bulldog's turret. And Raisins, they might think that he's an easy target right now, but Jet is coming in from around the corner, and there goes the Jade of Corruption that hits on max range. That's something I lacked from counter, but even though it hits, it still does not make that kill happen or anything. So they weren't able to follow it up well enough, and there's Kollega, 1v1 against Jet. He doesn't have the absolute, actually he does have the Absolute Zero back already, so might have decided to have gone for that, but opted not to, and well, at least clear out some 2 wards for himself, getting a little bit of additional money, and of course bullying out the wards from the enemy. That gives them the control over the dragon and a little bit of faith in that fact that Graves will not have any possibility of making it any harder. And so indeed, the Graves did not pay attention to that. Finally, the gold lead is rising for FTW. They took the Infernal Drake, that's quite impressive, important rather than impressive, and Hextech GLP, if I'm not mistaken, is now picked up by Shaki in the middle, so that could also be a little bit annoying. That additional slow will matter a lot.
Jonah and Fox still battling it out here in the top lane. Right now, it's Jonah who's leading by 15 creeps, but that's gonna change once Renekton gets his bite of this minion wave going on. In the meanwhile, we have another fight going on here. It's Moon that's targeted. Why do they leave him alone? Because Jet is coming in, and also Raisins from the bot lane. Fox as well teleported in. And nice kill finally.
Hogs coming in. That teleport was definitely the most important right here. That's why they started running away, because otherwise they could have just taken the kill on Moon and somehow figured out how to run from there. But Hogs, he's just so strong on this Renekton. Of course, using the ultimate plus getting the wild growth on top of himself, he's going to be an unkillable force. Plus, additionally, he's definitely going to rack up a little bit of damage for himself a little bit later. And there we are. It is Bulldog with the second turret already. This is the second turret of the game, and it is an inner turret, with FTW not taking any other, with Bulldog not yet even being able to take down the turret in the bottom. Now they finally do it, and I was talking about how FTW finally started getting the advantage in terms of gold. Now that is completely gone. They were 1,000 behind, now they're 3,000 ahead with just this one single situation. Bulldog earn 4,000 gold. That's a ton. And now coming back to the base, they will buy a bunch of items for themselves. There's Blade of the Ruined King available for Fax already. And the Moon with 201, he's going to become quite dangerous of an Oriana. And I don't imagine Galio becoming an assassin himself. So I feel like FTW will lack a little bit of damage. They will have some great front line in the form of Jonna, again, with Kollega alongside with him. Shaki will be a little bit tanky, will deal a little bit of damage himself, but Litmus this time, he's not able to get rolling. So that Kog'Maw might not be enough if we're talking about the damage output on the red team's side.
And Moon now even going for his own blue buff. Also, the whole Bulldogs team now on the way to the top lane on the upper side of the map right now. And they're just finding Nami and Kog'Maw there, so they might take on the fight here. Raisins maybe going in there as a bait, and yeah, Litmus is falling instantly, but walking even with his dead corpse, and also Kollega now but manages to escape here.
No, not really. Jet is trying to chase them down. As that Graves, he's got some great slows alongside with the red buff and manages to kite away from Jonna. And Kollega tried to turn around to secure that kill on Jet, but he might have even sacrificed his own life. So luckily enough for himself, he decided to not really approach the enemy's Moon. The only casualty for Bulldog in this team fight. Both folks coming in from behind. How did he even come up with such an idea? Kollega is dead. That would have been an ace if people hadn't started respawning from FTW, but yet another turret. It's 4-0 in the structures, already in favor of Bulldog. Rift Herald's going to be taken. That should mean at least a big portion of another turret taken, if not even an entire turret. And if that is let go in the middle, I feel like the inhibitor also could be in danger, and it's only the 17th minute.
Yeah, definitely, and also the Rift Herald now going to Bulldog. I really like the way that Jet is playing it here. 1-0-3, also nice stats going on, 10 creeps ahead. And what a genius idea here by Fox to come up in that jungle, securing himself also a kill. It's not that important, it's just a kill, but it's nice to have. On the other hand, that whole situation just started by Kog'Maw and Nami strolling around all alone. Whereas a good thing for Bulldog, they were all shifting towards that top lane and really made it work.
Yeah, but Litmus finally dying definitely changes a lot. I mentioned how his damage might not be enough in this game, actually. And right now it becomes even worse. So seems like that might definitely be the case. Well, now, say 5,000 lead in terms of gold. That's already a lot, but it can definitely become much worse. I'm not sure if FTW will be able to reply to what's happening right now on the map. In 30 seconds, the Dragon will respawn. It's going to be the Baron, 1 minute 30. Still, there is a Rift Herald available, and I think Jit is about to unleash it on the bottom lane. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. And the gold, 700 to lead in the top lane. 1,000, over 1,000 in the jungle. 800 in the middle. And 1,500 in the bottom lane. That's the biggest lead. Fax is able to play that Varus against Litmus, unlike Counter in the previous game. So it just proves that it was not about the champion, it's about the player that actually plays it.
And in the meanwhile, Jonah is trying to split push here for FTW. He's doing the best he can with Gnar. And one turret already falls into the hands of FTW, and he's still going on, maybe trying to get into the reach of that inner turret, but for now it looks like Bulldog are, at least in parts, retreating as Jet is going back, but Fox still hunting on Shaki here. But going up 4 against 4 doesn't seem to suit Bulldog here.
Yeah, and the most important, or rather the most dangerous member of Bulldog team, he seems to be Fox. And I've been mentioning it so many times already that Janna on that Renekton, he builds up a nice advantage for himself, and when he just decides to show up, he's going to be dangerous. But that rarely happened, and right here we've got an example of what Janna could have achieved had he been a little bit more active. Folks is always there when the team needs him in the bottom lane with the teleport in the early game where he died, but he did not actually just get broken by that. He decided to show up in many different team fights and always getting a little bit of an advantage for himself. And he does not need to completely crush the enemy with gold from the CS, from farm, that he gets up there in the top lane, because Gnar actually is winning in these terms, but he's still nearly 1,000 gold ahead just because of helping out the team, just because of being there for the team.
And Baron is live right now. The Bulldogs are pretty much in position, but one of them is doing a job on the bot lane fighting that Gnar. Kaliga also trying to get some vision on that area here, but is instantly denied by Jet. So clearing out the wards in order to force FTW to make their way here and look for themselves if something is happening with that Baron. And that just leaves the threat of being caught out alone. And I don't really expect the Bulldogs to engage that Baron here, because it would be way too dangerous, leaving the flanks open for Litmus to attack. And so they're going back into the mid lane, at least for now, but they have the vision on the Baron. Jonas still
the mountain drake. The mountain drake that Bulldog were able to get, I feel like it's going to play a little bit of a part in this Baron attempt. Well, Janna, well, that split push attempt right there. The top lane worked out. The bottom lane, he's going to find a turret. At least keeps the gold difference to a minimum. But I still don't think that it's going to change much overall. They still need a really good team fight in order to turn it all around. And then later, this will have a meaning, because it's going to be less turrets that they have to get through to actually reach the Bulldog's base. Because sometimes, even when you're able to make that big comeback, win a 5v5 team fight, get an ace, get the Baron right after, there are just too many structures to get through, and you're not going to lay your hands on the inhibitors of the enemy team. Oh, a flash burned! That's a good opportunity. And, well, Plasma Lemon did get into a little bit of danger, but after all manages to get out of there alive. That's going to matter the most. Raisins tries to clear out the vision, but I don't think that it's yet going to be an attempt at the Baron by Bulldog, but they're going for it. Interesting. It's way too easy to read, so FTW will know about it. Can they do anything about it? That's the question. Teleport comes through.
Teleport coming in.
That's going to stop it.
And for now, everybody is retreating once again from that Baron pit. Even going back home, maybe spending some more gold on new items here. Moon is the only one to stay in the mid lane, but with the outer turret still standing, he doesn't have to be that much of... doesn't have to be so afraid here. Kaliga and Jonah clearing some creeps in the river. And Raisin's actually pretty far off from his teammates. But looks to be safe.
Yep. Raisin's actually doing a good job running around with that Lulu. With the Thresh, rather, he preferred to stay with the team. They were always looking for some team fights and stuff like that, so no, this time he's going to get a little bit of more time alone out there. Once again, just replenishes the wards. Has a redemption additionally for himself. For FTW, that might also be a little bit of a hit, because they don't have the redemption under support. And usually on the Ivern, redemption is one of the core items you'd like to go for. But this time, their jungler is just not playing with the Ivern, so they're missing quite a key item. from their equipment. Shaki is going to lose half of his HP, but everything's still perfectly fine. But still, the flash is burned, and even the heal on Litmus. That's going to be important for the up-and-coming fights, and then just little by little, taking away these summoner spells, Bulldog are going to build up a good team fight for themselves. There's Moon with Shockwave, and already Plasma did not have that flash, as we mentioned earlier on. He was caught out by Jet, and that's a death. That's going to allow them to start getting that Baron going. But from behind still, the enemy team is coming, and now there is no Shockwave for Moon, so that could also be quite tricky. But the ball alone is enough to zone out the enemy team. Kollega, pretty low in health. Oh, there goes the flash from Jet. That's going to be another kill. The Baron already was taken. So with 2 people down, there's a possibility to just try and push down some turrets for themselves. Though the recalls are starting to happen. But Folks has got a teleport. Wondering if he's going to go for that TP top. That's where they have a pretty big wave. That's where he could easily go. But nope, he's just going to clear out the bottom. Yet another Mountain Drake for them. So that's a Baron with 2 Mountain Drakes. It's going to be quite a lot of pushing power, but for me, it's still a little bit surprising that they're not deciding a little bit more aggressively to go for that push.
Yeah, they're definitely holding a little bit back here, but still so far ahead. Right now the gold lead growing, Baron buff available for them, also leading in turrets taken down. Actually, the mid lane pretty much untouched for the Bulldogs here. And once more, the Bulldogs are turning into bulldozers over the time.
That's what we'd seen in the previous match, and that's what makes me a little bit afraid for FTW. Completely missed tidal wave. There is no flash on Moon, so had that caught him, it probably would have been a kill on the mid laner. On the top lane is going to be zoned out a little bit, so there's finally the turret in the top taken out. I feel like the bottom could be also a little bit of a focus. Like earlier on, they let out Rift Herald out there. And of course, taking down the bottom lane just puts the most pressure on the enemy team, because it makes it so much easier to take more attempts on the Baron buff and stuff like that. And another Mountain Drake, actually. It's going to be 3 consecutive Mountain Drakes if the game lasts long enough. And then right after, it's going to be an Elder. So Bulldog could have a good shot at this one. And no single Elder Drake was taken this far in the group stage. Oh, Jonah is a little bit surprised, jumps over the wall, and goes for an amazing Gnar, stunning the enemies for a huge amount of time. But there's a redemption, and the Jet was there from the very beginning, though. Now Galio hopping in. Shaki is going to keep his teammate alive for a little bit longer, but then Pokes has got that kill. Jet is not even taken down by the Galio, and as I mentioned, Galio is not enough damage. The only damage output that FTW have is their AD carry, who's also not doing too well. He's not able to pick anybody off. Moon just covers himself up with their command protect. 5 members of Bulldog eSports are alive, and they just have one task: to take down at least a single inhibitor. And they will have a huge creep wave in the top lane. They also have the minions in the middle lane with the Baron buff still ticking on themselves. They will want to take 2 inhibs at the same time. Might be a little bit greedy, but I think that they have enough resources to take that out, because only Plasma and Lemon respawns. Kollega is going to be back up in 5 seconds, but that's way too much.
Yeah, and just like that, I've taken down 2 inhibitors with that crazily good ace here by Bulldog eSports. And now just looking at the kill score, 15-2. So a lot of frags in favor here for the Bulldogs. Yeah, just retreating, buying some new items, and going back. The mid lane is still untouched, even though it's the 30th minute now. But the bot lane not in a shape like that, so the bot lane might be the one lane where FTW could also go for an inhibitor themselves. Feel like that's the only chance that they still have. They still stand in these finals of the Group D.
Just 2 kills on the FDW side. It's 1 for Shaki, 1 for John Arno, and I mean, like, just take a look at the farm. It's 50 CS advantage in favor of Galio in the middle lane, up against Oriana, who's the queen of CS. In the top lane, it's 50 CS advantage in favor of Gnar, who's doing great job split pushing. He's taken out an inner turret in the bottom lane. He's gotten quite close to the inhibitor, but all that just doesn't really mean anything because the damage output is way too low. Only Litmus was supposed to do something, but this time his bottom lane was not as successful, and wow, good trap prepared by FTW right here, but Bulldogs just see through all that and they won't be caught by such a simple idea. The teleport is going to be actually executed till the end. Yeah, folks, shows up right there on the backside of the enemy team. He's not afraid at all, goes for the ultimate right off the bat, and there's still the wild growth available to boost him up if he needs it. Indeed, he jumps in. That wild growth will be quite useful, but first of all, the combat protect. Now the knock up from Ludo's ult, and John Arno is dead. So alongside with him, Litmus goes down. Shaki is dead. There's only Kollega and Plasma Lemon. These guys have no damage at all. The super minions are pummeling on towards the Nexus turrets, and I think that we found out who's gonna be the last team joining the 3 others, the 2 Czech lineups and the German team on the LAN finals in Hamburg.
Yeah, definitely a big GG and congrats to Bulldog eSports, or should I say Bulldozer eSports, because once more they were rolling over their opponents here. And what a great job. And once more, let's just quickly go over it. Group A winner was Elsa Ecstatus. Then in Group B it was Isuba, who really dominated their group yesterday. A very, very close final between ESG and Gameister, but ESG was victorious in that. And Bulldog eSports, they are gonna join us at our offline finals here in Hamburg. So that leaves us with just a few things to say. First of all, thank you all for watching. It definitely was a pleasure to cast for you. And still, before you turn it all off, we still have a winner to announce in our giveaway, because the Garen figurine still is seeking for a new owner. And okay, but I just hear from the production crew in the background that before we will announce who won the giveaway, we will show you something about the offline finals. We will show you our Big Betty, our show truck. Yeah, that's it. That's the big Betty, our show truck that the 4 teams visiting us here in Hamburg will be able to explore themselves. And you should also not miss out on the action that we will deliver here in the offline finals with these 4 great teams joining us for the finals of the Legend Series. And now, before we let you go to bed or enjoy your evening, it is time to find a winner for our giveaway. So, all eyes on the chat. We will announce the winner of our LOL Garen figurine.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, I can already see that. Can you see it too, Marvin? Actually, it's not shown up in the chat just yet, but it is already announced on the website. It is Zizou25 once again winning the giveaway. He got the first one, if I'm not mistaken. Then
What?
Camilius got the second, and he was the third again. Come on.
But I think you're a little bit mistaken in that because I just read that Revlobot, he just says congratulations to Kellen War.
Oh,
So Kellen War
it's
might be
so I got
the
a different
one.
answer. Come on, or maybe he was re-rolled because he already won one, and you're not allowed to win two in a row, or something
I
like that.
don't know. I don't know. But they're definitely going to figure it out. Our admins are going to take care about the real winner. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Also, thank you once more for your cast, Nero. I really enjoyed it. And once more, I can just say don't miss out on that action in the finals. It has really been a great tournament so far. And I think it will just get better in the finals. So, yeah, I will leave the last words to our lovable Nero.
Just rip Zizou, I guess. But good luck to Kanwar later on, since he just proved to have some real good luck right there. Because yeah, he's the real winner right here in this giveaway, and just by a chance like that. I mean, by a chance, we had one team qualify to the LAN finals in our CS:GO Legend series. By a chance, now we have a new winner in the raffle of this. Garen figurines. So a lot of stuff like that is happening in the LC gaming. So you've got some huge chances in here. So just tune into all the other streams because you can always get some new experiences right here, win some more stuff for yourself, and yeah, I just can't wait to see you all guys on the LAN finals. Probably there's gonna be some tickets for the visitors also, so you can show up on that LAN tournament. You can cheer up for your best favorite teams, and yeah, same happens for the CS:GO Legend Series number 2. That's gonna be happening next week. We've got the group stage for 4 days, exactly like here in League of Legends, and the LAN finals will be 1 week after the LAN finals in LoL. So a lot of action here in ELC, and see you there.
Bye.